Hello and welcome to the show. This week's FailRace versus the community was a one-make race using Mercury Cougars. However, they were in B class, which means how you build your car for this event was going to be quite important. Do you go for handling or do you go for power and get a bit more straight line speed out of the car? The first couple of corners at the Silverstone International Circuit, we got round okay. It's this hairpin where problems can arise. It wasn't too bad, amazingly. There were a few bumps, a few cars ended up a little bit wide, but there wasn't a huge catastrophic accident like we have seen, although an orange car very nearly clatters the camera. No, it wasn't me. I was much further back, because I always start at the back of these, because Forza hates me. It's a glorious sound we get in this race as well, with all of the V8s piling down the straight. You can hear the odd car with the supercharger going on. Mine's got a supercharger. There are a few others you could hear around. I love that you can hear the supercharger noise going on from the few cars that were fitted with them. But yeah, this first lap was rather busy, as they normally are, as everybody's trying to sort themselves out. Yeah, the difference in the builds of the cars were quite notable. Some vehicles being much quicker through the corners, like this turquoise car here, whereas a dark blue car much quicker in a straight line. And on this track, there are a couple of long straights, or a few straights to sort of contend with, but there are also some corners. So yeah, how you go for the build of your car is all rather interesting. And the two bluey turquoisey cars were fighting again on the next lap as they both ran wide. This black car managed to get the overtake done. Unfortunately, lag was to be a bit of a pain in this one, as it seems to be a common theme with these versus the communities. In the black car here, it's going up the inside that'll put him on the outside for the next corner. I'm assuming that's at least what's happening here. There's just cars. Cars are doing dances and flying. I'm assuming he got round the outside and everything was safe. Yeah, kind of hard to show what's going on when it's all sort of lagging to hell. And then there is many cars in the background fighting over positions. I had built my car a little bit differently. I'd gone for a power build. What tyres you run on your vehicle were kind of quite important for the PI. I had chosen to run street tyres, huge tyre widths on them, but they were still street tyres, which means I could get quite a bit of power out of my car. Maybe not quite the most powerful here, but I thought it was a good compromise. I've got good straight line speed, but of course the handling isn't quite there in my vehicle. So the car in front here, better through the corners, probably a bit better on the brakes, but has nowhere near the straight line speed of my vehicle to come up to turn one. I can simply out-drag him into turn one. Now, he could hold it around the outside. Possibly he instead decides to try and cut back to the inside on the exit, and that puts him on the inside for this corner as well. Now, I've got a long way to go if he had managed to get his car up the inside. That's the acceleration you get from when you have that a fair bit more power. Probably got 40, 50, maybe even 60 more horsepower than some of these cars around here. And with a racing gearbox in my car, decent gear ratios, yeah, it was flying on the acceleration front. Two cars in front of me, and I managed to cruise up alongside the pair of them. And by the time we get to the braking zone for the corner at the end of the straight, I'm past them. Yeah, having that little bit more power while just making sure the car is controllable. You don't want to go overboard with the power. I mean, you could get huge power out of this car and have it in B class, but then it would be practically undrivable. Yeah, if you can strike a balance right, which my car was pretty good at, it was just about handling well enough. Yeah, it was flying. You will notice that there are quite a few cars in this video that have damage. There were a few bumps. Most of the damage, certainly on the car that we're following here, that's completely crumpled up. That's just the lag being funny on the on the replays. So yeah, don't worry about that. Either way, the white car here was a little bit slow off the corner, and the black vehicle managed to sneak all the way around the outside. The red car's now trying to get to the inside as they run on to the back straight. But then again, we see this power versus handling battle. As we saw down the back straight, the white car is well clear of the red vehicle, closes very, very quickly on the back of the car in front. I'm now enjoying this bit. I'm coming up to this battle. He tries to get to the inside, but the power cars tend not to quite have the brakes. They tend not to quite get stopped as nicely as you would like, and of course you can't quite carry the corner speed with them. You're quick on the acceleration bits out of the corners, but now you haven't really got the speed through this particular corner. I'm trying to sneak up the inside as we come on to the final corner onto the start-finish straight, as the poor whited red car just gets hung out wide. And yeah, I see my opportunity. I'll get up the inside there, and we continue our march through the field. Again, this was the battle for third that would be slightly ruined by lag. Third, no, yes it was third, sorry, my bad. Third, fourth and fifth that were this lot on screen here. We were very, very close at one point, and it looked like it was going to be a three-way battle for this position for a while. The red car here is certainly trying to find a way past. You got my car absolutely flying down the straight to join in at the back of this battle, but this would really be the closest that we would get, because lag would kind of mess this battle up quite a lot as the cars were jumping around. I think at one point I had to bail out onto the grass, and yeah, things got a little bit crazy. The red car's now trying to go around the outside of the final two turns. You need a lot of grip to make it around these final couple of corners. He stays there, it's side by side down the start finish straight. I'm still quite close in behind them, just in case anything goes wrong. I could pick up the pieces. Turn one, red car's trying to get to the inside, can't quite do it. If you can get to the inside of turn one and stay around the outside of turn two, you have a good opportunity. This is probably one of the best overtaking spots on the track, but the red car just a little bit too far back. He's now got me for company as well at the front, and the yellow car here had led pretty much from the off, had pulled a huge margin over the rest of the field while we were all battling and sorting ourselves out. However, this black car got himself free of the rest of the group and proceeded to catch up with only a couple of laps to go. Would be right on the tail of the leader as they come on to the start-finish straight. One of the broken cars letting them pass up towards turn one. The black car looking for the inside, and then everything goes all funny and laggy. He manages to get past on the inside, and I think he has enough speed to be in front by the time they get out of turn two. That was the lag that was afflicting a large portion of this race. It's a shame. It is a real shame, because the race was actually shaping up to be really, really close throughout the field, but lag just kept throwing curveballs here, there, and everywhere. And yeah, it was a shame, because, as I said, the race was looking great. Then things went a little bit wrong, and there's only I had a look for trying to find some usable footage for sort of much of the middle part of the race, and there wasn't a huge amount. It was a little bit of a mess. Either way, the black Cougar would take the victory from the yellow car. Quite a close finish between the pair of them. The lag was kind of a shame. It's a common theme at the moment, and I don't really know what I can do about it. There's not a huge amount that we can. The second race would go to the Bugatti circuit, a track that I don't like particularly, but for the sake of variety, I thought I'd throw it in. It's a good test for these cars, mixture of straights and some very slow, some nasty corners around this track. Unfortunately, come the tight turn 2 chicane, everything would go wrong. No fault of lag this time. Someone would outbrake themselves, spin the car in front that would go across the track, and create a car park for us to try and avoid. A couple of us further back made it through without damage, but a lot of vehicles were broken in that shunt. It was a big one. It was one of the bigger crashes we've had. It just blocked a lot of the road. I got lucky, managed to avoid it that time round. Yeah, it was just a giant mess on the track. I was not sure how my car would fare here. While it would like the straights, the final sector of the lap is quite a nasty one with a few slow corners to worry about, and I'm not particularly good at this circuit, so I was quite pleased by making up a number of positions on this first lap, having a big dive into this next corner and just understeering a little bit wide. I apologise to the car I gave a small bump to, and yeah, he ended up out a bit wide, and then we see the speed of my Mercury. Admittedly, I think the car that I'm passing here may have been slightly damaged, but yeah, my car really does soar when we get to the straight bits, even if I do outbrake myself a tiny bit into the chicane that time round. Even though there was a large number of broken cars, I mean, you will see on here, most of the vehicles have scratches and dents on them of some sort from the opening lap, as was the case. I think it was the car that was in second that got spun across the track, hence why almost everybody was affected by it. There was still some good racing, some good overtaking. This one around the first corner. I mean, the first corner here, it depends on how you built your cars. I don't know if anything was taking it flat out most vehicles were having a dab on the brakes. It's one of those scary corners of it's almost flat out, but not quite. I guess some of the real power cars probably couldn't, or weren't sort of thinking of taking it flat out. But yeah, a challenging corner for these vehicles. I was making my way through the order. I gradually caught up to what was second place, and me trying to find my way past. He was doing a good job of defending. I had to try and get creative around the outside of the final couple of turns. That's a very long way around to go. The car behind me was much quicker through the corners. Very nearly got to the inside of my car on that one, but I have the acceleration out of that final turn. I have the straight line speed to just simply outdrive the car in a straight. This sort of turquoisey car had a spin on lap 1, and he too was working his way through the order, would catch up to the back of this blue vehicle, trying to find a way past. This is perhaps a little tougher track to overtake on. Your best overtaking opportunity is probably either this final corner or the second chicane. The rest of the lap is not so easy to get past. Straight line speed is certainly a bit of an... Straight line speed tends to make the overtakes here a little bit easier. But yeah, this 17 car was struggling, just didn't quite have the acceleration, didn't have the speed, and you see, it's not so easy to pass when you're lacking that little bit of straight line speed, because come the big braking zones up here into this chicane, he's just too far back to try anything at the moment. And again, the car in front is going to pull away. This next corner is a horrible corner. It's downhill, off camber, and almost completely blind. It's not a nice one. You'll see plenty of cars running wide on that turn. The cars that were broken at the start of the race did make it back to the pits, and they proceeded to race amongst themselves. The battle of the broken. Well, they're now fixed, because fortunately on Forza 5 even aero damage gets fixed when you take it to the pit lane. So at least the cars, yeah, once you've been to the pits, are okay to drive. This green vehicle trying to get to the inside at the final corner, and sure enough, just about manages to get the move done. The pearlescent car ends up out wide across the curves, gets a two-wheel moment. So this is always good for a FailRace video. However, the green car lacking in some straight line speed. You see, the overtake for the sort of purpley car was much easier than the overtake that the green vehicle had. However, the purple car wasn't able to get himself back across in time to defend as they go through the tight chicane, and the green car has simply got the handling, can go around at the outside. At the front, and it was a Mercury Cougar. It's that pretty much got to the lead after turn 1 and vanished. While we were all squabbling amongst ourselves, trying to get through the order, he had a huge lead over the rest of, absolutely massive lead over the rest of the field. Didn't see anybody for large portions of the race. Fortunately, this one here wasn't actually too badly affected by lag. There were a couple of times things went a little bit funny, but yeah, on the whole, this one was a lot better. While it wasn't close at the front, second place was, yeah, a little bit tighter. I made a slight mistake on the way out of the chicane, ran a bit wide, and then we're coming into the section of track that my car struggled a little bit around, and the purple car behind me was much quicker through here, much faster. I had to be very defensive into the final turn, pretty much park my car on the apex, get a little bit of a nudge. He's trying to find a way past, and while there isn't a huge run to the finish line, he can't get his car up the inside, and I have more than enough acceleration to make sure that I can secure second place. It was a good fun race though for me, that one. And further back there was still some more close finishes to be had. There wasn't a huge amount of action throughout the middle part of the race. At the end though, there was a few close things. I'm not quite sure what position this one was over. The green car was just a little bit slow through these final corners, bouncing around over the curbs and is out a little bit wide. Black car tries to get to the inside, but doesn't quite have the acceleration to make a manoeuvre. Yeah, despite the fact I don't particularly like this track, and there was a huge car park at turn 2, it did actually turn out to be quite a fun race. Our third and final one would go to the Nürburgring track. And turn 1 here is notorious for accidents, and when you see cars going 5 wide, you're expecting there to be trouble. Amazingly, it wasn't the 5 wide that were the trouble. There was a spin, and it did take out a few vehicles, but it wasn't from everybody being 5 wide. I can't believe everybody made all that line of cars. Of course, me starting at the back had a good view of everything going on, and I was quite glad I wasn't near that, because yeah, it was a scary sight to behold. I would think it'd be even scary if I'd been seeing it in my rear view mirror. But yeah, there was a bump on the first corner. But a large portion of the field managed to make it through okay at this stage, as they're all too wide through these next couple of corners. Bit of a bumpy place to be trying overtakes, and still they're going too wide. Somebody's just ran out of grip on the outside of the curb, and then we have the lag. Yeah, the lag was back for race 3. The red car here is on the inside at the hairpin. Hairpin is a good place for getting an overtaking manoeuvre done, perhaps better than trying to go too wide through those earlier corner. Purple cars sort of sliding a little bit. Red vehicle's got so much drive, manages to get up the inside, but you don't really want to be going around the outside of this far chicane if you can help it. He gets away with it though, it's too wide further back as well. The first lap was full of plenty of overtaking. Unfortunately, as you can see, yeah, lag was to be a little bit of a pain. Quite a few vehicles had to take to the pits for various reasons. I think 4 or 5 cars on the first lap were in the pits. I got lag killed on the opening lap. There were a couple of other shunts as well that weren't lag involved, but yeah, quite a lot of broken cars in the first few laps of this. Well, you can just see the cars here are bobbing and jumping around, trying best to show you what was going on, but yeah, kind of hard when a lot of the footage is almost useless. This grey vehicle here manages to get himself around the outside of the black car, but doesn't have the straight line speed quite to keep it there, so the black and red vehicle just accelerate him into the next corner. When you don't have the straight line speed, it can be quite difficult to overtake. We saw it at Silverstone, we were seeing it a little bit at Le Mans. I think perhaps Nürburgring may slightly prefer a handling car, but there still are a couple of really long straights that you want the straight line speed for, and this grey car was certainly much more of a handling vehicle. And yeah, it's quite tough to keep a speed car at least behind you, if they can keep it on the road, that is. And still, lag was being a pain. The orange vehicle here was thinking about making it too wide through the through the chicane. In the end, changes his mind, probably wise. Try and get a good run off the chicane, and this is a much better overtaking spot. Unfortunately for the orange vehicle at this stage, just a little bit too far back to try anything at the front, and the two leaders had really quite vanished as all the shenanigans and mess went around at the first hairpin. Yeah, the front 2 cars had made a huge gap. This was 3rd, 4th and 5th place. The black vehicle just running a little bit wide at the the scary chicane. Purple car gets up the inside, and now everybody's crisscrossing through these next couple of corners. The chicane on the back straight, it's the much tighter version on Forza 5. On Forza 4, you used to be absolutely able to fly through it. Carry loads of speed through it, but here it's a much tighter corner. Another good overtaking spot, although it is quite narrow. The black vehicle here thinking about going on the outside. You're not really likely to fit 2 cars wide. You're certainly unlikely to get around the outside. However, you can take a neater line. The purple car was so busy defending, you end up being slow off the corner, so the black Mercury can get to the inside. A little bit of a bump, just to make sure he knows you're there, and you can get past on the inside. We then have the drag race down towards turn 1, all about who has got the fastest car in a straight line. These two seemed fairly even, really. The purple car perhaps a little bit too far back to really try something. He has a go, but it is from a long way back, and in the end just can't quite get the car stopped, and it's a fairly simple cutback for the black Mercury. And yeah, through these next couple of corners, the purple vehicle would be too far back. There was still some racing through the field, as you can see by the damage on the vehicles. That kind of gives you a little bit of a hint of the sort of the lag that was going on. Whenever the game lags, it throws cars around, and on the replay, it just shows it up as damage. In this instance, the black vehicle gets a much better drive on the exit of the corner, gets into the inside, up towards the hairpin. The purple car, little bit quicker in a straight line, but it's not quite enough, and then we lag, and then we settle, and the other side of it, nobody gets lag cannoned off the track, and the black and white car has made up a position. And the front, as I said, the front two made a huge gap just off the start line in the opening couple of laps, while everybody else was falling over each other. So it was the purple car that would take victory. There was a red Cougar in second that was gradually catching up to the leader. Second and third, third and fourth were catching these two quite quickly, but would just run out of laps by the end of it. Again, this was another race. It was a little bit ruined by lag. I think there could have been some close racing. I love running one-make races because you tend to get really close racing. But the AIs have got completely lost. Yeah, if the lag would have let it, I think you could have got some close racing, because in brief moments when everything wasn't lagging, you got action like this. This was on the final. I think this was over 8th place or something. And these guys wouldn't finish the race. That's how far back they were, because everybody had to, or most cars had to go and visit the bloody pit stops or something along those lines. Yes, 7 cars I think finished the race. That's yeah, not so good. Minute and a half into race timer, only 7 cars finished. Yeah, I got lag killed, I think, 3 times in this one. Not so much fun. In this little battle, the turquoise car was the handling vehicle, purple vehicle, a bit more of a straight line speed car. Blue car fell off the road on the final lap, tried to make up position. It was also a bit more of a speed car. In the end, the turquoise car was just too far back to try anything into the chicane, and then I think the race would end pretty soon after that. Yeah, I love single make races. There was a lot of good. There was so I say sporadic close racing. I think there could have been a hell of a lot more good racing if we hadn't had some silly laggy jumpy cars. Little bit of a shame. The Bugatti circuit one was probably the best of the lot for lack of lag. Then everybody managed to crash anyway without it. But yeah, I still had plenty of good fun with these cars. And the Mercuries were actually quite good. I was quite pleased with the way mine turned out. It's quite a nice car to drive, even with it only running street tyres. Actually, yeah, I really quite liked it. Anyway, that is it for this week's FailRace versus the community. The next one will be held on Monday the 9th of March. I'm having to move it to a Monday because I'm going on holiday and I'm not going to be around for a week. Don't worry, videos, well, in fact, if you're watching this, videos are scheduled and everything's working fine. Fingers crossed. And if you're watching this at a different point in time, it means it's all buggered up. Yeah, it's going to be on Monday the 9th of March. We're going to be running C-Class front-wheel drive cars. If you want to sign up and take part, then you can go to our forums. There'll be a link in the description. Find the FailRace versus the community section, and that is where you sign up. However, that's it from me, so thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.